All right, welcome to week 3 of round 5 for the Laptop Lifestyle Dads Academy. G'day, Celeste, Jay, and Daryl. Thank you very much for jumping on live with us. I see that you're driving, so make sure that you focus on the road. And, definitely tune in, of course. But this one's going to be pretty interactive, so this will definitely be one that you'll need to go back over and watch the replay. But and all that sort of thing. Let me just quickly put up a quick little introduction call that we're putting together, a little video that I've used AI. And we're going to talk about all things content marketing today. So looking forward to putting Dave in the driver's seat and supporting him on that journey. But let's just quickly kick off with this little video and then we'll get this party started. All right, let's look.
Yo, it's Chef Ross, Mike's Hot, Let's Ride, caffeinated kangaroo with a crew worldwide. From Tassie to LA, we flip the script, helping burnt out dads like a hustle shift. This ain't hype, it's purpose and play. Building biz with soul, the laptop dad way. Reels AI, freedom in your grip, with a boom sauce beat and a real talk tip. So grab your brew, hit play, let's roll. You're the hero now, we just hear the simple. Let's bounce, legend in the awesome town where kangaroos coach and kings wear crowns.
Is that dancing?
This is the lifestyle dad show, boom sauce, baby.
All right, just a little bit of geeking out fun there with us all. So if you guys want to learn how to create videos like that, then you need to make sure that you join our 30-day content marketing mastery program that we're running at the end of the month. We're going to be doing a deep dive into all things AI and content marketing, and we're going to be geeking out together, but that's for our next course. That's the next level, if you know what I mean. So the basically Laptop Lifestyle Dads Academy is all about helping you to find your voice. And then we're going to be doing bolt-on programs like that to help you elevate, to leverage, to amplify your voice and all that sort of thing. So, Dave, it's week 3. We're talking all things, content calendars, content pillars, how to leverage AI in this space. Welcome, Holly. Thank you very much for joining us live. If you're watching the replay, let us know, put hashtag replay in the comments and still interact with us in the comments on the comments thread, wherever you find it, whether it's in the Facebook group or whether it's on YouTube or wherever you find this later on. So over to you, Dave. I'm going to hand the baton over to you and we're just going to bounce off each other like we do so well. And, this one's your little baby. So over to you, mate.
Yeah, thanks for that. No problem. Howdy, everybody. Thanks for giving up some time for us and spending it with us this morning. So I guess basically I'll just, everybody probably knows who I am. So there's probably no real need for introductions. Everybody's been on the calls before. But what we will do is we'll just get straight into it. And basically we are going to talk, obviously a little bit about content calendars, creating content, all that sort of stuff with the pillars, and everything is going to be based around the voice framework that we've been working through. And I probably won't go through like we did a week or two ago when I actually had a guinea pig on here, because there's probably too much to do in this one. But what we are going to do is I'll go through all the prompts and everything, and obviously you guys are going to get a copy of those so that you can go and keep building on creating your own GPT that's going to sort of talk and sound like you and work off this voice framework. And obviously by the end of this one, you'll obviously also have the power to create endless amounts of content, and the content will be, I guess, structured if you follow through the process, and you're going to have a pattern for your content. So it's not just going to be randomly putting posts out there that aren't really going to stick. So I guess from everybody's point of view, I don't know about you guys, but I used to. I don't so much anymore. But I was in a place, when I first started this journey, where I would sit there and I'd look at my screen and be staring at a blank screen for ages, just trying to think, what can I put out there? What can I do? And I guess that's what we're going to try and speed you through the process of today is getting, and basing that around the voice framework. We're going to, basically create or extend the little bit of a system that you've already got in place and use those the past 2 weeks of training that you've done and continue on with that and add it into this system, which is, obviously going to then alleviate what you're doing and the issues that you're having with your content. So, it's, based on that voice framework, I guess, we all know that the voice is value, origin, influence, clarity, expression. So basically, we're going to work through those 5, values of the voice, and what we're basically going to do is utilize those to ask yourself a whole heap of questions. And basically from the answers to those questions, we've got a whole heap of mega prompts for you guys to use. And from those mega prompts, obviously you'll add the information in, and then you'll be able to, use ChatGPT like we should to speed up the process and get that, continue on that clarity with your content creation. So, basically, what you want to do, I guess, is, create a life cycle of what you're, trying to do with your content. So, you want to have something for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I guess, we can, using the voice framework, that makes it a little bit easier. And you can, sort of have these 7 pillars and basically, working through your values on, say, Monday, origin, Tuesday, Wednesday could be influence, Thursday could be clarity, Friday, your expression, Saturday, community, and Sunday, vision. And then you can obviously mix those up. You can also, change them up so they're not coming out that way. Or some people actually like to keep it consistent and just keep flowing through with those consistent content pillars and days and what they do every day. It's always good to sort of have that path to start and follow to the end. So what I might actually do is I might share my screen and put this over here so I can sort of go through what sort of questions and that sort of stuff that you're going to be looking at to sort of help you dive into it. I think it is.
Yes, it's just like we've done in the past. Dave's going to basically just run through this, and he's pointing you all in the right direction. We're not going to get into the real interactive side of this today. I want you guys to experiment and play with this and come back to it and ask questions. So we're going to run through this this framework and this content calendar and its creation prompts, and then we're going to have some fun together and play around with some images and some videos and show you what's possible in that space to, just to lead you to where we're going. This can be a very overwhelming experience. Just know that this is the, the top of the mountain conversation, and, we're climbing this together. So this is to help you to give you some structure and some organization to your thoughts to, to keep that congruency moving forward. Over to you, Dave.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for that. Can you see the screen all right?
Sure can.
Voice framework, content calendar. Cool. Well, we're going to go back to the good old days here for a moment, and I'm going to actually read out this little bit of a story that this is how we used to do it in the beginning.
I forgot all about that story.
So it's probably changed a little bit by now, but anyway, the voice content story. I'll just read this quickly off the screen. So, once upon a time, in the vast kingdom of social media, there lived countless creators, all shouting the same boring message. They had fancy calendars and perfect posting schedules, but something was missing: their authentic voice. Then along came the voice framework, not just another content system, but a way to infuse every piece of content with your values, story, influence, clarity, and expression. This wasn't about posting more. It's about positioning with purpose, sorry. Let's build your voice-powered content engine legend. That sounds a lot like you. I wonder why that would be.
Flavor and tone, that's for sure.
Yes, definitely. I know we used to have a lot of fun with those when we were going through
Yeah, back in the days of the free boot camps that we used to on.
Yes, and they are always the beginning and the lead up to I guess the storytelling, which is always it's an important part of what we learn, and being able to communicate through story is really probably one of the best ways you can get traction out there and start those conversations. So basically, what you will end up doing, and I'm going to obviously send this sheet to you in a PDF, guys. So. This is really the first part of what you really need to go through, and it's similar to what we did a couple of weeks ago with Celeste. So some of you, if you've done that previous work, you could probably, utilize what you've got, or you may have grown a little bit since then. You may have some different ideas, so you can use these questions again. So basically, what you want to, sort out is your values, and I'm not going to read every one of these out. I'm just going to go through the actual parts of it. So. You can basically see it there. So you want to answer the questions on your values, obviously your origin story, your influence, your clarity message, and your expression and style. And basically then what you've got, I think I've got 3 or 4, I think it might be 4 mega prompts. And basically these are the gold that you really need to put into your ChatGPT, and these what you're going to get out of it is pretty amazing, to be honest with you. You'll be surprised if you've been amazed with what you gotten out of the last couple of weeks. You're going to be very amazed at what you're going to get out of this. And basically they are pretty simple. I've tried to set these up very simple, but the other thing is if you have any problems, obviously just reach out in the group. We're happy to, jump in and give you a bit of a hand if you get stuck on it. So, but I've tried to set them up so that they are self-explanatory. So you're basically just going to read through them, provide your outline. So basically, how it feels, blah, blah, blah. This part of it here, then, then this is all this goes into ChatGPT once you've, sorry, I'll start again. So basically you're going to fill this in, then you're going to put all this into ChatGPT. You're going to then put your sample content here. So this part of it is basically creating your voice and tone or your ghostwriter profile, I guess. So you can actually put in there the information that you've created in your origin story, if you like, or the other thing you can do is you can just pick some pieces of content that you might like, the way that somebody writes an article that you really like, or things like that, and you can just insert that into this here if that's the way you like your company to sound or you to sound. If you feel that's gonna resonate with your niche and those sort of things, and then you can use that as well. So basically that is the first part that you go through, and then we're going to move on to the second mega prompt, which is basically I want you to act as a voice framework expert and a social media strategist. So create a 7-day content color that authentically reflects my voice while serving my ideal client. So basically, again, you want to go in and your voice pro. So this is where you want to put your answers from the voice questions that you did up above. You put all those into here. Then my ideal client, which you should have worked out from week 1 and 2. You should have this information available. I don't know whether you guys do this or not, but I've always found that whenever I create something that in ChatGPT, I've got basically copy and paste everything onto a Google document and keep it in my Google Drive, just for future reference. And I've got 53 different tone documents in there and all sorts of things as you grow and as you change. But it's just handy to have that sort of stuff available. You never know when you might need it. Once you put this in, what this is going to do is going to create a 7-day content calendar for you using your information above, and it's going to basically base it on your value. So day 1, you have value, content, origin, influence, which is sort of what we went through before. And then for each day, you have a content, theme, and purpose. So once you put this into there, into ChatGPT, it's going to give you all of this. Then moving on to Mega Prompt 3 for voice content creation. So basically now you want to help create specific content using my voice profile and content calendar. So obviously you put your voice profile in there from prompt 1, my ideal client, today's content theme. So you can pick that from your content calendar above and just put the theme in here. And then whether you want it from Facebook, for Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, captions, whatever social media platform, or multiple social media platforms that you want this stuff to go out on. So basically, then this obviously is just a continuation of the prompt where it's going to reflect your voice, your ideal client's needs, include clear call to actions, use my natural expression styles. It's going to reinforce your core message, connects to the transformation story when relevant, make it feel genuine, like something I would write, not generic AI content. So it's sort of been given, the instructions, but I suppose it's like anything. The more often that you actually, you do this with your little chat GPT, it's going to get better and better because it's going to learn more and more about you all the time. So the first time that you do it, you might look at it and go, yeah, not bad, but it's not quite. So what I've always sort of found is you can always tell it, what you want. So what you could do is you could get its output and you can take that to the side and you can just go through it on a Word document and change the bits that you don't like and put in the bits and pieces that you do like. And once you've done that, if you copy and paste that back into your little GPT conversation and say, hey, this is how I would actually like the format to come out in future, it will then remember that and change it for you. So it's always a work in progress, and that's, I guess, one of the things with AI and with ChatGPT. It's always evolving, and I guess so are we. So it just makes it you work hand in hand, tandemly, I guess, to work through the process, and things just get better over time. It's like anything. It's like a puppy dog. You train it when it's young and small. It's a little bit silly and doesn't do everything that you want it to, but the more and more consistent you are with it, and the more and more you teach it what you want, the better output I guess you're going to get. So, and then the fourth one, the brand kit builder. So using my voice framework insights helped me create a heart-centered, purpose-driven brand kit. So basically, again, it's just copy and paste. And so the good thing about this is that you do a little bit of work at the beginning, and then you should be able to copy and paste everything else pretty much from there. If you want to create a brand kit, you want a mission statement. So it's going to create a mission statement. You don't have to actually fill in anything in this because you've put all your stuff up here. So it'll actually do the work for you. Vision statement. It'll give you core values, brand personality, signature, content, anti-values, etc., etc. This here, I found when I did mine a fair while ago now, but you'll often find as your business develops and you develop and things change and you get a different perspective on things that you're doing. These are going to be, I guess, live. You might want to say these two are in particular going to be live, and they will change slightly throughout the course of your journey. As far as your core values, obviously, you don't want those to be changing. They might a little bit, but most people are pretty specific on their core values and what they stand for. So then we are going to move into Mega Prompt 5, which is your voice content batch creation. It's a mouthful. I want to batch create content for the week using my voice framework. Help me create multiple pieces that all feel authentically like me. So in my voice profile, you just insert the information there, create 7 different pieces of content, 1 for each day. And the thing with this is, I guess it's pretty obvious, but just for you sort of more starting out, I mean, you can change this to anything that you want. You can make it 14, 28, as many as you want. But what I've often found that between 7 and 14 days of content, like, is probably a sort of a sweet spot, because you never know what what's going to come up, what's going to change. You might be promoting something, then all of a sudden you might have something else that you're going to promote, all those sort of things. So I wouldn't go too far ahead. And that's why I quite often laugh when I see these, create 365 days of content in an hour or so, these little AI tools, because I just think, a lot can happen in 365 days. So, and that's okay, I guess, if you want generic stuff to come out. But yeah, so again, it's going to give you based on this style. And I mean, you can change these too, if you don't want a value post or a story, but I mean, you can change them around. You can add different things in there. You might do this for a week, then you might change these around and be something completely different. Put some more, they got, teaching in that, but you might want to just change the style of the posts that you're doing out there as well. And then obviously for each post, it's going to provide you the platform specific. If you tell it which one you want it to do, it's going to give you a hook, a headline, main content, call to action, and then 3 to 5 relevant hashtags. So I guess in short, each piece sounds like it came from the same authentic person, being me, while serving different purposes. So again, I guess that's kind of it in a nutshell.
So Dave, I just wanted
What you can
to
do.
just get some clarity here and just answer some questions. So around where basically Dave's got thing in brackets, like that specific format, right? So wherever it's got a bracket like that, that's basically a blank. That is for you to use the best brain and tool that, the best tool that you have, which is between your ears. And this is that brain. And it's that partnership relationship. So what Dave's done here is he's taken out all of the guesswork around, structure and creating content that connects and, using all of that copywriting tactics and all that sort of stuff here in that space, and giving you an opportunity to bring in that AI plus our heart is where the superpower lies. So you fill in the blanks to the best that you can. And the more information that you put in, the better you will get out. The more specific you are, the more specific it will be. And the other thing here to mention too, that I think Dave, either he did mention or he's missed it, but I missed it anyway. And I'll just recap here is what Dave's doing here is what we call prompt stacking. So you use one chatbot and you just keep that chatbot going, and you basically build on and you layer it. This is about layering and putting the Lego blocks together. And then that's where the AI really kicks in to become supportive down the road. See, after using AI in this style at the very early days, and sometimes when I start a new project, I have to come back to this style, but this is the foundation style. I don't need this anymore. I can just come into it and say, okay, Chatty, my frameworks, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do this, this, and this. And it speeds up that process. But it's like I've given it the kindergarten level education to be intimate with, my values, our business, our day-to-day operations, all of that sort of thing. So it's always pulling from that knowledge base. But without that knowledge base, this is where content starts to get generic and it starts to feel robotic and it starts to feel. So this is creating that tone and that voice for your content to be able to bring in those fundamentals. So I just wanted to recap on those two things. So be very specific, input in output, so garbage in, garbage out, great stuff in, great stuff out. And so Dave's has given us these frameworks and these prompts to help us to be more specific and to tell the AI what it is we're actually wanting to achieve. So this will help, speed it up for you. Yes, there's a little bit of, learning curve, but once you understand how to use these prompts, you no longer have to worry about being a prompt engineer. All you need to do is just go fill in the blanks. Does that make sense? Cool. Over to you, Dave.
No, that's right. Thanks for that. Well, basically, we're just, this is obviously you guys are going to get this sheet, and basically it's just giving a little bit of a checklist at the end of it as well. Obviously before you create any content, or I probably should have said before you post any content, or, finalize your content, you just want to make sure, and this is obviously where the human in the loop comes into it, and keep it there is obviously, does it align with your values? Does this connect with your origin story? And this is obviously all connecting to the voice framework, but you just want to make sure that these things are in place. Does it demonstrate your influence and expertise? Is it a clear message? Is it actionable? Does my authentic expression shine through? And excuse me, and that's where I really like the way that we try to teach you guys on how to, I guess, use AI, and that is basically by is by just keeping that. Well, I call it keeping the human in the loop, but you've always got to have that input, and that's where it gets very hard with people, especially posting for social media and stuff like that. Is getting all the automation part of it. If you're trying to automate it, I mean, it's probably an easy thing that's done for companies and businesses where they've got pages and stuff like that, and they're doing a lot more, I guess, advertising, product stuff, that sort of stuff. I guess some of that can probably be automated, to a degree. But if you want to actually put out genuine, emotional content that's actually going to, hit the psychological parts of your niche and actually really drag them in and start the conversations, then you really always need to keep that human in the loop, and you really need to check it. You never. Well, I don't. Well, even me, I don't. I've got some really good custom GPTs, but I still won't post anything without reading them first. Um, and I know that they're good, and I know they're going to do their job, but there's the day that you don't check it's going to be the day that's going to put something silly out there and make you look sillier. So it's just always worth trying to do that for your own sanity, and obviously just to make sure everything's aligning the way that it is. And the good thing about that too is if it's not quite in alignment with what you're trying to do, you can change it and tell it and feed that information back into it. And that's one of the best ways to get it to learn about you, is by you giving it feedback, as in, giving it, samples of what you want. So, the first few times, if it's not quite right and you're putting out the content style, etc., that you want, like I said before, put it onto a Google document, change what you want changed into it, and give it back to it. And that's the large language models. That's how they learn. So just something from my experience anyway. I guess, and then the content quality. Got another check for you to do before you go posting it out there would be would someone who knows me recognize this is my content. Does this serve my ideal client's needs? Does it sound authentic, not like a generic AI? Is there a clear next step for the engagement? Does it reinforce my core message and mission? And all these are very important things when you're taking into consideration what you're going to post out there. And I guess not every post may not cover all of those, but depending on the message that you're trying to get out there, you want that, you want to make sure that everything's in alignment. Again, that's just, for me, part of keeping the human in the loop throughout the process. I've also given you.
Move on to the pillars there. Just to answer Daryl's question. So,
sorry, I can't see the questions.
that's right. So slightly off topic, but when we do create 7 days of content, do you create the post and schedule them, or do we manually post each day? My answer to you on that, Daryl, is do what's best for you. Like I would have, sometimes I would schedule out content. So I've got content going out. If if I'm off to Japan, I'll make sure to give me some time out, I'll make sure I schedule some content out. But make sure the content you schedule is evergreen based type content. So it's not necessarily time sensitive. See, I like to speak to, my lessons during the day, and I like to create content, on the fly, if you know what I mean. And having the tools and the systems in place to be able to do that, like it literally, I can put up a really good story-based, value-based piece of content in 5 minutes today. Whereas, before AI, it would probably take me, a day or half a day to even think of it and come up with it, edit it, polish it, all that sort of stuff. So it's about speed of implementation. And you know, using scheduling tools, yes, they work. If you're going to use scheduling tools, use the native ones, like use Facebook's native one. Don't go use third party, because they will the algorithm will punish you for that. And it also comes down to pros and cons. You know, like you do a SWOT analysis types of things: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, to what serves you best. Me personally, I only schedule when I really need to, when I'm traveling. Otherwise, I like to just do it as I go. Another side tangent thought before we go and talk about posting is what I'm noticing as well. And if this sounds overwhelming, Kay, you just do you. But what I'm also noticing is posting 5-6 times a day is where the algorithm will reward that consistency. But don't go posting at 9 o'clock every morning every day, and at 10:30 every morning every day. Whatever you can do to be more human, more organic, will serve you best. If you start to be too robotic and starts because the algorithm follows patterns, and it's the AI algorithms looking for those red flag patterns. To, if you look too systemized, too robotic, too polished, it's going to punish your reach in that space. Yes, Holly.
Can I schedule like at odd times for day
Yes.
one and odd times for day two that don't coincide, and that will help?
Yes. Yeah, so you want to, whatever you do with scheduling and systems and that stuff, I get the pro for that, but you want to make sure that you're doing it, mixing it up sporadically, so it looks like it's natural behavior. Yeah. Anything you do to mimic natural behavior is always going to serve you best. Over to you, Dave, talking about content pillars.
No, that's all right. Well, the other thing too is there's nothing really that you can use that works properly on scheduling content out to your actual profile either, unless you can on your mobile phone, I believe, but generally speaking.
Yeah, you can schedule via your mobile phone, no problem, and all that sort of thing. And there are tools out there that help with scheduling, but they always punish your reach.
Yeah, I just find that most of them are only set up to post to either perhaps a Facebook group, but generally they're for pages, business pages.
There's loads of tools out there like Hootsuite and everything. And we can have a whole masterclass on automation tools and all that sort of thing. I just find it's too overwhelming, too messy, and it's taking the human out of the loop, as you say to speak. So it's not a relevant conversation.
Yeah, no, all good. So yeah, basically this is just giving you a bit of a layout on the pillars for the voice content pillars. So basically what the whole content calendar, I guess, and is basing itself on to give you that content. So again, you can reflect back on this and just make sure that things are being produced exactly how you want them, and that they align with this sort of stuff. So you got your value driven content, you've got your story powered content, which is obviously all to do with your origin story. You've got your influence building content, which is I guess teaching valuable insights, sharing your expertise, positioning yourself as a guide, and creating that authority in your niche. Then you've got your clarity focused content, which is addressing specific client problems, clear solutions, simplifying those complex topics as well. So again, I guess realistically they're all sort of leading towards creating you as the expert in your field, and giving you that authority in your niche. So and that's really what you need, because that's what's going to get people to come to you instead of you having to chase people as time goes time goes on.
And just on that pillars, I just want to add to that as well. I love what you've done there with the voice framework and that type of thing. The only other thing that I would add to this whole conversation is don't be all one thing. I'm a man of faith. I'm a father. I love travel. I love my fishing. I love serving in a marketing capacity as a coach in that space, in the network marketing, the affiliate marketing with the LA Tribune. Like when you look at Jeff Ross's profile, or Jade's or anything like that, it's not all just about one thing. You want to make sure you've got like core pillars in there But if you can just have a bit of balance and a bit of robustness about you, so you're because when you talk about marketing, right? I'm only going to connect with people who want to know anything about marketing. But when I talk about faith, and when I talk about fishing, when I talk about travel, I'm connecting to those different pockets in my circle of influence, and then there will be overlaps of connection. There'll be people out there who love faith and love marketing and love faith in business and faith in family, or travel and business, or those type of things. And so we can create overlaps in those connections. The whole key word here is connection and intimacy. It's allowing people to use your content in that space to be able to people to connect with you. And they say it takes up to 21 touch points before a connection is really strong enough to go to that next level. So it's putting the personal along, it is social media at the end of the day. It's not all about business. It's not called, marketing media or business media. It's called social media. So we've got to keep that social element in. And that's why I love looking at, the different buckets of content as well. We've got entertainment content. We've got information content. We've got value-based content. We've got, personality type content. We've got, behind the scenes type content. And so it's looking at the grid, the framework, which we're going to do a deep dive into this in our content marketing mastery. But just to give you the 10,000 foot view, it's looking at that grid and that framework to lay your pillars in, but also lay in the different styles of content as well to speak to all audiences and meet them where they're at.
Cool. Anybody got any questions?
So, for example, I love landscape photography. So was out this morning shooting photos to make sunrise time lapse, and I'll be sharing once I finish processing today. Yeah, exactly. I love talking about, my faith. So I will share lessons, I'll share snippets, I'll share insights, and Japan, like I took, those reels I put together on our adventures together. It wasn't all about business. It was about, living life to the fullest. So it doesn't, it's sort of like the balance, the 70-30, 80-20 rule, and this is where I see, I've got a couple of people in my network marketing circle, right? And all they do, no matter how much you coach them, they don't know, the message just doesn't land. It is what it is. So it's the let them theory kicks in. But all you see on their walls is pitch, 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 sale, 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 buy my stuff, let's connect. And there's no matter how much you have this conversation with them, it doesn't land for them. And so they're looking for what they're actually looking for is the shortcut. But if they just spend some time here on the emotional, what people see as fluff, I used to see it as fluff as well, but it's not. It's substance, it's connection, it's trust, it's belief, it's posture. So when I do put up a pitch type post, I've already warmed my audience up. See, pitching's they're connected for warm audience to convert them to go to the next stage. So you got to think of top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel conversations. So I love here what Dave's put together here with all of these mega prompts, because it's all designed to really keep this theory, this connection point in place. The goal here with your content is to connect, create curiosity, start a conversation.
Correct. So anyway, back to this is like basically this is just running through the final parts of it for you to, I guess, have a bit of a checklist and things for you to do so, and give you a bit of an outline on sort of how you can use it and move. So, complete your personal reflection questions, 30 to 45 minutes. It's like everything. As you do that more often, the answers will come quicker. But that's the area that you really want to spend, a lot of time on, and really, put all that really good information in there, because I guess, as we always say, garbage in, garbage out. So, the more time you can spend on that, the better results you're going to get. Run through your sample content, through the mega prompt 1. This is just giving you a guideline how to do it. Create your 7-day calendar with the second prompt. Use the mega prompt 3 to create your, content for today. Build your brand kit with 4, and then batch create content with 5. And I guess as for some reason or other, my GPT seems to have picked up the good old Australian flavour here.
The caffeinated cream sauce flavour.
Exactly. It's picked up the Jeffrey Ross flavour here. Yeah, as I remember, mate, you know,
Been doing too much work for me, mate.
must be content without your without your voice is just noise, but content with your authentic voice is how legends are born. So, you know, obviously, yeah, it just comes down to, you know, being as authentic, I guess, as you can. You know, the more that you go through this, and the better that the information you give it, the better information that you get out, and the more that you keep going, you know, building on those conversations with your GPT, you know, that's going to really help, you know, now your voice, I guess, and keep it, you know, as authentic as possible. And that's why I always say keep the human in the loop, so that you know, you can check what comes out and change it to suit exactly what you're saying. At the end of the day, these things are designed to, you know, enhance you and amplify you, not you know, not to replace you, not to do all the work for you. We've got a, as Jeff said earlier, you know, we've got a thing between our ears up here that we need to use. Because the better we use that, the better, you know, they will learn from us and give us what we want. So, you know, your content should sound like you on your best day, authentic, valuable, and impossible to ignore. Stay caffeinated, stay legendary. Jesus, that is sounding too much like you.
You know, and I just want to echo that thought there. You know, I saw Jeff J. Hunter. He's one of the experts that I follow a lot, and he posted here. He said, "You'll all be using AI to glow up so much that I swear, if anyone sees you at an event, they won't even recognize you. Don't lose your authenticity." You know, and I just want to reiterate here is there are a lot of people out there trying to use AI to replace them. You know, I see a lot of these conversations at the moment about AI twinning, you know, and all that sort of thing. And there's places for that. There's some fun with that. But the reality here is, you know, Celeste, like we're going to meet each other next week in Atlanta, right? I'm coming all the way over there. We're going to meet each other in person. And you've created a connection with me, you know, through showing up through Finance Pro, and, you know, now coming into the Laptop Lifestyle Dad's Academy, and we've had some one-on-one conversations. You know, if I get to Atlanta and I'm a completely different person, you know, that shows up in real life, you know, in that space more than what you've seen on the screen, what's going to happen? You know, trust is going to be broken down, and you know, the skepticism really kicks in, and, you know, fear starts to kick in, even, you know, the overdrive, and even more so because of the extreme of it all. Here's the thing: when you meet someone in person, how you show up online needs to be exactly how you would show up offline when you get to shake someone's hand, because the purpose of content marketing is not to sell. I can't drive this nail home any harder. It's not to sell. It's to connect. It's to build belief. It's to build trust. It's to build that relationship. When you've got that relationship, when you've got that trust, when you've got that belief, and you've got that connection, then you drive people to a conversation. And then that's in the conversation where intimacy has grown deeper, trust has grown even further and stronger and connected. And that's then where we lead people from the conversation to helping them to be the solution finder, to point people in the right direction, to give them the tools that they need to be able to be empowered and equipped and save themselves. And when we do that, you know, we are just the guide on the journey. So marketing's designed to get out there into the very noisy world, to bring people into your sphere of influence, and to then, you know, move them through the bridges of the conversation. So next week, we're going to talk about the bridges of the conversation. We're going to talk about the customer value journey, on how to take someone from cold to sold. So what Dave's shown you here, though, it will point you in the right direction to help you to start creating content from this fundamental foundation of the purpose of creating connection. And you'll be able to use his prompts there and experiment and have fun with all of that. You know, we're going to geek out in a second, you know, on some AI videos, and just put you a bit of a sneak peek of what we're going to be offering in the 30-day content sprint, and show you how to take this to the next levels and beyond. But before we do that, let's just go around the room. Daryl, I'll start with you, mate. You know, what was the big light bulb aha moment that you're taking away from today's discussion? And do you have any like burning questions? If you had the opportunity to ask one question, what would that be if you do? Daryl?
Yeah, being able to organize things and produce content in a batch like that,
Yeah.
is just going to be, look, I think I made the comment earlier, is going to be so much time saving and allow me to focus on what's important in my life and my passion project and
Yeah,
things
right.
like
It's
that.
gonna give you some structure, right? And some
Yeah.
yeah.
Helps keep me accountable as well, because I've got, which is why I asked about the scheduling as well. And I think posting manually is probably going to be better for me. So I am keeping myself accountable and
Well,
keeping that.
the next part of that conversation is working out what is your daily method of operation. Like, what is your non-negotiables that every day you need to go, okay, I'm going to put up at least one post. I'm going to start at least 5 conversations. I'm going to connect with the 5 new random people, these things. And that'll help move the needle forward faster.
Yeah.
So that's a separate conversation, but it's basically working out what is your daily method of operation and the way that you show up each day.
Yeah, so like making those posts once a day for that type of structure, but then adding in all those things like my landscape photography, my 4-wheel driving and camping and all those sort of things and traveling that I get into on top of that.
Yeah, and it's going to add that personality, and this is that E part, E for expression, right? Because this is how we create. It's called a personal brand. Like, we want to get personal and intimate with people to a point that we're comfortable with. You got your own boundaries around that, but it's about you putting, leading by example, and you putting out there to give people permission to connect with you. Otherwise, if you're just behind closed walls all the time and closed barriers behind the time, people don't feel comfortable reaching out to you because they don't know how to reach out to you.
Yeah.
Make sense?
It does, and the 2 posts I've made since sort of really hitting the ground running after our coaching session,
Brilliant.
Has had a huge impact already.
Yeah, love that.
I actually had someone reach out yesterday who was in a bad way, and I sort of, in lack of better description, talked him off the ledge.
Yeah, man.
So
you know how many people,
if it can keep me doing that sort of thing,
that's absolutely beautiful. And that's of service, right? This is what I talk about, servant-hearted leadership. The last 2 years of 18 months now, running an online church, because I'm so vulnerable and transparent and real, it's refreshing for a lot of people out there. Over the last 6 months, I've had 8 people reach out to me in crisis moments. I've had 8 people that I've talked out from committing suicide. I've had 8 people that I've either connected them to a church or a rehab center or something along those lines to point them in the right direction, And that's what the world needs. It needs more of these people who are just leading out there with service, but in a space that gives people permission to reach out to people. The world is starving for connection. And if we can offer those, offer people out there connection and give them a conduit, then that's what this is all, it's all worthwhile, right?
Yeah. Like you said yesterday, until I seen your post, I thought I was dealing with this alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty profound statement.
Yeah. It hit pretty hard.
Yeah. And that itself is just content in itself. You could go create, you don't have to share the gory details of that story. But you can say, right, this has just helped me deepen my why even further.
Yeah.
And this is why I do what I do. Yep. Celeste, I can see that's hit a chord. What's coming up for you, Celeste?
Yeah, that did hit a chord. I was just thinking, you hit chords with me quite often, Jeff. Honestly, I'm a softie inside, so I get very touched by emotional stories like that. You do such good work, and I can see, I'm really excited to meet you. I don't know, I think the world of you. So
appreciate you.
Anyway, I appreciate you as a friend. Okay. I guess I just like the psychology behind it all, what I'm seeing as I grow. Posting, it's so true. You can't just post the same thing all the time or they're going to scroll right by it. Like you might feel like that's your strong point, but you have to venture out to those different areas and show the different sides of you and make sure it's not all, the same time. And,
you're real. It's all about being real.
being real, and you don't want to be predictable. I struggle with that, like my personal story and getting stuff out like that. So,
And that's,
and I
I
know
want to acknowledge that just for a second, Celeste. Sorry to cut you off.
that's okay.
That is okay. You know why it's okay? Because this
Why?
is a new normal, right? You're getting out of
Yeah.
your comfort zone. And what's happening, you talk about psychology of it all. What's happening is your stress and anxiety responses are trying to keep you where it's familiar, where it's known.
Yeah.
Because familiar and known equals safe in your subconscious mind. And so what's
Yeah.
happening in that space is it's one, it's a battle of the wills. Your subconscious versus your conscious mind. There's a battle going on, and you want to lean into this space. You can't, kids and dogs, you can't meet them, eh? They're the biggest distraction of all life. I love it. But coming back to this present to you, Celeste, is
There what?
no, sorry,
What'd you say?
Dave just had his son there. He is his son in the background. I just got squirrel moment, an ADHD moment. Squirrel.
No.
So coming back to, speaking to your heart here, you know, basically the way that, and this is my very dumbed down layman's understanding of it all, because I'm not a PhD or a master's in psychology or anything. I'm just a student, right? So regurgitating what I've learnt over my time through, being informed, but not just only informed, formed. There's a difference between formed and informed, and that's a whole other conversation. But coming into this space, you only get formed through failing forward fast, through experience, through wisdom, through, having a safe space to do the messy learning part to grow. Right. So at the moment, you're informed. You understand, and it makes logical sense that this is what we need to grow in. But there's a battle of the wills going on between your conscious and subconscious saying, no, don't do that because that is unknown. And unknown equals scared. Unknown equals fearful. Unknown equals anxiety. Because I don't know what to do. I don't know what I don't know what I don't know. But this is where we all need a coach and a mentor or a guide to help us to feel safe, to give us that space of growth and accountability, and it's okay to fall over and make mistakes space. Because as we make mistakes, more information comes in, more experience comes in, more wisdom comes in, and that is the growth journey. So to say that you're, a little bit scared of putting yourself out there, that is okay. It is all normal. And it's just, we just need to keep digging deeper into this. But the only way that you're going to go from being informed to formed is through experience, through making mistakes, through wisdom, through being guided, through being led. And whilst you're doing that, becoming a stronger, more effective, more empowering leader yourself to help others to learn those things as well. So you're passing the baton on to the next generation, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I feel really, really grateful that for Finance Pro and the connections that I've made and the guidance that I get and the training that you put out and all of that. I don't always get it the first time around, but it's starting to sink in. And I see that little bit of growth in me. And I'm starting to get that, like, let them, like, I haven't read that yet, but that's a good saying. Just in those two words, I let them, this is me, this is my life. Like,
So it's
I
let
don't
me,
know.
and then the next question you need to ask yourself is let me. So let them do whatever they want to do, but then let me. How do I react? How do I
Okay.
respond? Let me do what X, Y, Z. Let me grow. Let me go and do this. So it's let them.
Okay.
Let me.
Let me. Okay, yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, so I take a little bit each time. I take a lot actually, but I don't remember everything, of course.
No,
But
and we never do. We only retain probably 10 to 15% of the information.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, oh boy. Okay. With me, I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Yes.
That's why staying plugged in is so important. And you know, the other way to look at it as a metaphor is each time you come to each class, each event, each experience, each win, each loss, each challenge, each victory is a new piece of the puzzle that you're building. You know, and you got to think about this. You're building out a 10,000, 100,000 million piece puzzle. And this is why I've got ChatGPT. I was about to say the same thing, Dave. You reminded me. And this is in ChatGPT, what it's done, now AI, what it's done is we used to have it used to be your ideas to speed to implementation. Well, what AI has done is it's leveled the playing field. You know, we don't have to go and do a master's degree or, do a video commercial. I'm going to show you in 30 seconds just to wrap this video up what we can do in 5 minutes. What used to take me 5 minutes now, so speed of implementation, so idea to implementation, that's speed. What I can do now in 5 minutes used to take probably 5 days, in that example. So before we Holly, I just want to hear from your light bulb moments, and we'll just keep it short and sweet so I can move into this piece so we can wrap it up.
I'd say it's about structure, because everything for me right now is feeling chaotic. And I guess light bulb moment is just getting that structure and following the step-by-step process that for me is visual because of what you've written down, how you've got it written down, having the examples, where I can look at, because I'm audible, visual, and kinesthetic, kind of have to do it by looking at it and hearing it and everything else. And so this kind of coaching like we're doing today is really helpful. So I guess it's kind of the drop in that I just need to get a hold of that framework, have it next to me when I go to do content, and just start implementing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Really knowledge is only good when it's applied knowledge. So yeah, love that. Well done. Cool. Awesome. Dave, do you have any other final words of wisdom before we start playing around with VO?
No, just I guess basically trust in yourself and trust in the process, and as long as you stay authentic and aligned with your values, then you're going to go a long way in this in this industry, in this online world, because as Jeff often says, there's always people, that's what people are missing in the world at the moment, more of that authenticity, authentic touch and those conversations. So once you once you get into the process and train the GPT how you want it to be, just never forget to keep that human in the loop, and make sure that you can there's two ways of doing things with the GPTs or with AI, and that is having those conversations with it, which Jeff uses a lot. When we've done previous trainings and that, he'll use the voice part of it and have those general conversations, and that's a great way of doing it, especially for people who are learning. It just allows you to feel a little bit more free in what you're talking to. And then you've got people like me who really like to structure their prompts and their information in the background and everything else, and there's no like right or wrong way, and that's the great thing about how it's I guess progressed and progressing for us. So just be involved in it, just get into it. Just we're all scared initially when we're getting into this space and worried about what's going to happen, but don't be. Just trust yourself, just trust the process and go through the motions, and that's the only way you're going to get better at it, is by going through the motions.
Yeah, it's failing forward fast, but it's having backbone frameworks there to help guide you and point you in the right direction. And that's what today's discussion is really about. It's about giving you those structure, giving you those frameworks of, helping. This has only been born out of our failures, our mistakes. How do we perfect it and make it easier and faster for people to get to where they need to be? But it's having the safe space to be out there to experiment, to have a play. And, Celeste, like you reached out to me during the week and said you gave me 2 versions of content, so Jeff, which should I post? And my answer to you was post both, because here's the thing. Most people aren't going to see your content, and post it at random times of the day. But it doesn't matter. Like, post any content. My answer always is going to be to you, Jeff, should I post this? And it's going to be yes, post it. Because you just don't know what piece of content is really going to land and go viral. I can't give you the formula for viral content. I can give you structures, I can give you frameworks, I can give you buying psychology, I can give you things that have worked for me in the past. But viral content, the best content, is the raw, the real, the organic, the truthful, the one that people just resonate with. But it's not about that. There are so many silent stalkers out there watching you, and they're just waiting for you to either fail or be in that space where it's the right time for them to help them succeed. And, this is why I don't get attached to the likes, the comments, the vanity metrics, I call them. I get attached to how can I be of service and how can I show up and how can I be of, be purposeful in what I put out there. So just want to shift gears here a little bit and just spend 5 minutes and just show you how we can go next level. So this is what we're actually going to be teaching in our 30-day content marketing mastery sprint. For those of you who are already upgraded, well done. We've still got 10 spots left, or either that to the 14th to jump on board. It's $199. I highly encourage you to get access to this at that price point, because once that is gone, it's jumping up to $497. This will be a product that is on our shelf. It's an evergreen product and one of our core products that we always fall back on. But we're going to be doing this conversation today is really just a spoonful. We're going to give you the smorgasbord, and we're going to give you all the different styles of content, the structure, the systems, the whole look under the hood conversation, no hold back. And you get basically this for 30 days. Now, I just want to be clear. Yes, it's 30 days live because we're going to build it out as we go. But this is going to be evergreen content that you can go back and, go back over, multiple times. And it'll be a product that sits on our shelf. So we're building it out so this product is still saleable in 12 months' time. So that's why the price is at $199 to come along with us for that live journey. I actually think there's more value in joining us live because you can get that intimate Q&A section there. And then we'll be increasing it to $497 from there. But this is one of the things that we're playing around with. Like, we've got our finger on the pulse because we're always experimenting, right? Creating little AI videos. Obviously, I've got my brand, my mascot here, in this example here. But I just want to show you how quickly this is and just give you that 10,000 foot view to point you in the right direction. So we've got a custom GPT. Dave's going to be showing you how to use his and all that sort of thing. And so I'm just going to come up here. So help me create an 8-second video on prompt. So ChatGPT is going to help me to create the prompt. And the tool that I'm going to be using called is Google Flow. Now, Flow is not cheap. It's about 200 Australian dollars a month to get 12,500 credits. There are other tools out there that we're going to show you that could do similar things. I'm always going to show you the Ferrari, and then we'll show you the Datsun and the version D. If you're on a budget, I want to make sure you've got options. I know what it's like to build a business off, bootstrapping it. I built mine off the back of a disability pension, but we never let money be the hurdle to help us to get where we need to be. There are options out there, but I'm just showing you the Ferrari of this conversation. So this is Flow. It's the Google version of this. It's probably the best tool out here I've seen in this space. And Dave and I are always experimenting, always playing. It's that learn, do, teach model, right? So once you come to Flow, so you need a prompt to then put into it to be able to get your project going, to be able to pull these all together. So let's just quickly create one on the fly here. So Dave, you can be my guinea pig here. So what's the core message or product we want to promote today? Dave, you there? You're muted, mate.
Yeah, I muted myself so the background noise wouldn't get you. The LLD Academy. Why don't we do that?
All right, so LLD Academy. Me. Thank God for spell check. All right, so it's the platform to teach affiliate marketers how to find their voice, leverage social selling, and AI. All right, so 2, what's our vibe?
Sorry, I was reading the chat. What's our vibe? Funny will do.
Funny in a corporate setting.
Yeah, that'll do. I'll pay attention now. Sorry, squirrel mate.
Let's go characters, and let's just keep it short and simple for this one.
Well, we got a
Let's go cowboy in a saloon. We use that.
Okay.
Unless you got something random.
Nah, because it's going to do a caffeinated kangaroo and a platypus, but that's all right. We'll just use that.
So would you like the speaker line? If so, yes. So yes. What's the line? Join the LLD Academy now for just $49 to find your voice today. Something. Yep. And what's the other one? Fifth.
You don't really want text on the screen. I hate the way VO puts text on the screen.
Text on the screen. Yeah, I don't like that either. Right. So this custom GPT that's been built has been set up specifically for this purpose. So it'll either ask me more questions or it'll start to, create the prompt for me. So clarifying, okay, so line limit. Your current line, join the academy, that is too long for natural delivery of 3 seconds, especially in stylized accent. We should trim it slightly. Suggestion. Yep, love it. Love the suggestion. Point 1. All right, 2. Corporate plus cowboy is satirical goal. Will blend the casual dusty saloon with subtle neon. The contrast will sell the joke. Love point 2. All right, you happy with it? Yeah, with the tweaked lines, you want to change it? Happy. Let's go. All right, so it's done all the heavy lifting for me. It's going to create the scene. It's going to say a retro cowboy dressed in neo trim chaps, a bolo tie, barges through classic saloon doors, accepts the saloon clearly and rebranded office breakdown, water cooler, So it's painting the picture for the scene. It's got the character there. It's got the visualized style. It's got the audio with our line and our shot list. So now I'm just going to copy that. And I'm going to come over here to flow, and I'm going to make sure that we're sharing our sound so you can hear this in action. Yep.
Quick question.
And I'm just going to paste that. Yes. And I'm going to make sure this is on VO3 for quality to get the right one. So yes, quick question, go.
Just if you see something in that prompt, do you copy paste it with new edits, or how do you direct?
Sorry, what was the question?
If you see something in the prompt and you want to change something in the prompt that it's giving you,
you can say, okay, you can either change it in the prompt itself, or you can say, let's revise this prompt above to add a talking dog. Whatever, right? So you can keep revising it and adding to it to be able to, tweak it and adjust it from there.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's 21 seconds, and actually, I'll give you this different version too. So, we'll see what the different versions play around with it. Now, video, you got to understand, it is a brand new tool, so it's glitchy as all get out, and you might not get the right thing that you're trying to visualize first time round. As you can see on a few of mine that I was playing around with, I probably got 5 or 6 different iterations sometimes, moving a space to get what I want with the finalized product. But then once again, the more familiar you get with it, the better you'll start to be able to use the tools. So whilst he's playing, let's just see this one in action. I'm not sure if you've seen this one or not, but See, it's giving me, okay, yeah, this is a good example, right? So it's given me a couple of different versions of this to try and get the platypus. Geez, man, get that platypus with AI is hard. Right, so this is a ballsed up version here I didn't use, a bit of a failure, but look at this one.
You saved my son. You destroyed our enemies.
You may ask for any reward. Tell me, what is it you...
I was trying to, basically, here's the version that I created. So I created 2 versions of this video. I think I used, it doesn't look like I've got it right there now. So I think I used this as the first scene. I think it was this one as the first scene. I edited it.
You saved my son. You destroyed our enemies. You may ask for any reward.
I used that as the first scene, and I edited that first part out, and then I've used this as the second scene.
I want the 30-day Voicey Content Marketing Mastery Program to level up, like this video.
Now, it's AI. It's never, ever going to be perfect, right? You got to give some grace to that conversation. But let's see what we've got here with our cowboy dressed in a neon trimmed. Let's see this one.
Join LLD Academy for $49. Find your voice today.
It's in the corporate setting.
Join LLD Academy for $49. Find your voice today.
So I could use that as like an end slide. So now you start thinking about how could I create scenes, and you start stringing them together.
Join LLD Academy for $49. Find your voice today.
See, I probably use that one personally. I like the beginning of that. You like necessary.
Join LLD Academy for $49. Find your voice today.
So I can play with that, right? So, so you start experimenting, and you just start geeking out and having fun till you visualize things, and then I'm going to basically put together this video that I put together for our podcast introduction. It's a stack of tools. So I've used ChatGPT for the prompts. We've created probably around about 15 scenes that we've spliced together. I've used another tool called Suno to do the rap music for me. And then I've used another tool to bring it all together for the video editing. And then you end up with something like this. Just to play this again for you. So what's going on with the music there? It's really static.
No, I reckon.
Maybe I need to close the video down. Maybe it's the files got corrupt. Let's try that again. Something's going on with my computer with my files are missing. Interesting. All right. Oh, here we go. Let's try it again. I think I found it. Yeah, right now it's working. Let's try. That's better, yeah?
Yo, it's Chef Ross Mike's Hot Let's Ride. Caffeinated kangaroo with the crew worldwide. From Passy to LA, we flip the script. Helping burnt out dads like a hustle shift. This ain't hype. It's purpose and play. Building biz with soul, the laptop dad way. Reels AI freedom in your drip. With a boom sauce beat and a real talk tip.
So we'll play around with that later. But as you can see there on that straight away, it's not necessarily speaking out aloud. I've lip synced it. So not necessarily the words are always matching up with the mouth, but you've got to really pay attention to that detail to miss that. But it's a lip syncing video, and then you can get creative and you can create little content pieces like that. And, once again, it creates curiosity, it's entertaining, it starts a conversation, it starts a connection, and it's unique, it's original. It brings that brand piece in together. So guys, thank you very much. This is the end of today's masterclass. Really, really appreciate you. Dave will put up the replay in our group along with the show notes and the swipe file with all the mega prompts there for you. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate you. See you on the next one. For next week, we're going to go deep diving into the customer value journey to take your people from connected to sold, from cold to sold and the whole journey in between. Appreciate you all. See you next time.